Hey guys, welcome back to Portal of Wisdom. I'm back today with another story for you. If you are new to the channel, like and subscribe and click that little post notification bell so you get alerted when I post new videos. And now on to today's topic. Today's topic is kind of a fun little science-y experiment type of story, and it's kind of a cool feel-good story. So this story is about an abandoned project in Costa Rica that actually helped save the forest. So the story starts like this. In 1997, ecologists from Princeton University, Daniel Jansen and Winnie Howlux, were working in the Guanacaste Conservation Area in Costa Rica. And they had this idea to create this experiment on some of the barren land or land that would only support some grasses, and it had been deforested and the soil had been kind of degenerated. So they wanted to do an experiment there, and they were allowed to take this degraded parcel of land, I believe it was like 7 acres, and make a deal with an orange juice company that had some land that bordered the park. So the orange juice company, they were donating a piece of their land that bordered the park in exchange for being able to dump their orange juice waste, basically orange peels and orange pulp, on this 7-acre parcel as an experiment to see if this could help regenerate the soil. And so this process started in 97. I think it ran from about 97 to 98. And the orange juice company we're talking about was Del Oro. So they dumped 1,000 truckloads of waste. And these ecologists, they picked this company because their orange orchards were like no herbicides or pesticides were used there, so it was pretty much like an organic type of operation. So they felt that this would be good for their experiment. So they brought in 1,000 truckloads of waste. It was over 12,000 metric tons of mainly orange peels. And so there were mountains of orange peels that then got spread over this land. And within that first year, or about a year later, their competitor, Tico Fruit, didn't like this, that they were able to dump their waste for free, and they had this symbiotic relationship set up with this park, and the Supreme Court in Costa Rica actually agreed and stopped the process. So it only went on for 1 year. There was the 12,000 metric tons of waste that was dumped, and that was it. It was just left there. This experiment was kind of quashed at that point, and the scientists or ecologists were upset that they weren't going to be able to carry out their research, and they wanted to go ahead and check the soil for probably multiple years in a row, and they were able to do it, I think, for a while, but then they had to head back to the States because they were originally from the States. And I think there were some experiments done and checking over the site for the first 3 or 4 years or so, and then after that everything was just kind of left and let be. So eventually everyone goes back to the United States and forgets about the project. And then in 2013, one of their colleagues from Princeton University, Timothy Truer, was back in Costa Rica, I believe on some other business, and he decided he would go look for this area. And it was denoted with a 6-foot long sign with yellow letters initially that had marked the site. And so this this sign marked where they dumped the peels, and then they had a control area on the other side of this road, I think, that had access. So one side of the road was control, and the other side of the road was where they dumped the orange peels, and it had a big sign in Spanish with yellow letters that kind of marked, this area and what the project was, what was going on. So anyhow, Timothy, he's looking for this area, and he makes many trips out to the site, and he's pretty sure he's in the right area, but he can't seem to find the sign, and he isn't sure. He thinks maybe he is off a little bit, because there's a pretty good forested area where he thought the area was, but he's not sure, and he can't find the sign. And it takes multiple trips back and forth, and eventually he does find the sign in this forested area, and he realizes, wow, this is that area that we dumped all these orange peels. It seems like it regenerated, and it had no ability to regenerate before. So it was vastly biodiverse now. It was a forest. It had a whole bunch of different plant species now. And, nothing else was able to survive before except some grass, and at times the grass didn't even survive that well there. So eventually they take some more soil samples, and I think about 15 years had gone by at this point since they last checked on the area, or at least a decade. And they determined that the soil was much more healthy now. It was able to support all kinds of flora and fauna, whereas before it wasn't able to support much of anything. It was mostly barren when they started. And no one knows exactly how the land was able to regenerate so fast, since it was left to nature for 15 years without yearly samples and checking on things. But it was monitored for a little while, and it seemed to be doing okay. And then when they came back, it was phenomenal forest now. So anyhow, that was the story of some ecologists that had this bright idea to dump these orange peels, and these tons and tons of orange peels completely regenerated the forest in a very short period of time.